Yay, it worked. All right. So this is the July 2022 power rankings. I will very shortly be moving to a new computer that will hopefully help some of my recording issues, but most of them don't affect you. So I'll just move on and we'll get to the July 2022 power rankings. Uh, Here we go. What happened this month? We got the second half of Clan League. Technically, a bunch of that happened in June as well, but I am going to be assigning all credit this month, and so I should be giving it pretty significant amount of weight. And clearly, the most important thing: any player who scored at least +2, meaning 2 more wins than losses, is on this list, and many of them will score very highly on the list. There was also a completed weekly open. There is another active one that currently 1 player is in the final and 2 more are in the semis. We also have a 1 July GB that is technically ongoing as I record this, but probably will be closed up soon. I'm going to take the current top 4 as the actual top 4. I would be very surprised if the current top 3 didn't end up being the top 3. And 4th place, I think, is a good chance to hold on. We'll see. The Backhander tournament has begun, and it's a decent chunk in. We have 3 semi-finalists. There are a pair of slackers named Wazup and Delial, who still haven't completed their round 1 match, which is what's holding up the tournament, but almost everything else has been played. We're also in the finals of Tazooka's hand tournament, but basically none of it happened this month. So I'm going to give a tiny bit of credit, and I will mention it, but please discount it as very little happened this month. Okay, in 10th place we have Tazooka. I was torn between 4 players here. If you look at just all the different tournaments that were run, the top spots in all of them were basically taken up by the same 9 people. Really the same, like, 4 or 5 people, but the same 9 people. And so the last spot was left for players who scored +1 in Clan League as putting up a very good performance for the clan, but not an extraordinary one. And we were left with Crescent, Sergio, Tazooka, and Wazup. And I really wanted to go Sergio here. He has not made the list before. I think his +1 earned it. He got a huge win over Vialva against Brotherhood of Seed. But I think it has to be Tazooka, whose victory over Scythe is just much more important to Clan League, right? Brotherhood of Seed still won that matchup comfortably, while I believe... No, that one might still be tied. Actually, I should check that. But either way, I think Tazooka's probably just barely snags it, as that win seems a bit more important between 2 of the bigger 3 clans. So, really sorry to Sergio. Crescent also, really nice showing. Hasn't played many of his games, already won 1 of them. May end up on a bigger score here when all is said and done. 9th, we have Sir Smokes. He will, per usual, argue he's overrated, but getting +2 in Clan League will put you on the list. And it's not even the only thing he has. He's in the semis of the Backhander tournament, which is a very curious tournament. If you haven't been paying attention to it, the idea is you play a hand in a closed game, and then the other person has to run that hand in an open game. So the consensus strategy seems to be use very bad cards, because they will hurt you less in the close than they will hurt your opponent in the open. I think I'm a little less convinced of this strategy than other people, but I think it has a snowballing effect, right? If you think about level 1s, say I use level 1s and you use level 10s. Level 1s have some play versus level 10s. They're quite likely to have plus wall potential. Level 10s do not incredibly solidly close out level 1s, especially in a closed game, right? If I use level 1s and you use level 10s in a closed game, you don't know what I have covered. I'm probably not going to... I mean, I may lose badly, but I'm probably not going to lose as badly as you may lose in the return in the open. On the other hand, level 4s beat level 1s almost as badly as level 10s do, right? Level 4s have less, maybe arguably worse, though I don't think that actually ends up working out that way. But, level 4s have numbers level 1s have a harder time plus walling than level 10s do, right? And so it's easy to say, okay, if I think they're using level 1s, I'd rather just use level 4s than level 10s. And then I won't give them level 10s to crush me on the return. Anyways, it can easily just push towards lower and lower levels, and I think that's what ends up happening. but it has been interesting to see some people use hands that did have some higher cards. For instance, Turds advanced to the semifinals, giving his opponent, Tazooka, a somewhat stronger hand than Turds had if you go purely by than Tazooka gave him if you go purely by level, but also really made the hand directionally difficult and made sure the backsides of the cards had redundant number types, meaning like if there's a 6-1-1-1, there's a 6-2-2-2, there's a 6-3-3-3, that kind of hand. Meaning that because the backside of the card, the weak side of the card is 1-1-1, 2-2-2, or 3-3-3, all of them have the same differentials between them. So if one has trouble plussing stuff, others will as well. So even though the numbers are a little bigger, the cards are incredibly clunky to use together because none of them can do things that are all that unique from the others. So I think there's a bunch of different directions to go, but Sir Smokes was the first one, I believe, to play games in that, where he just used kind of the crappiest level ones possible, but specifically crappy level ones with some power to take. Kind of 6-1-1-1, 6-2-2-1s, that kind of card. Stuff where he could try to grab enough cards while giving his opponent cards that are in most directions unusable. So really good run in the Backhander tournament. We'll see if he can close it out with his low-level strategy and a very strong +2 in Clan League. Then we have Nemesis Davina. And last time I believe he won Piggyman's Proving Grounds. I didn't actually check if that was the tournament he won, and my brain isn't working today. But I believe he won Piggyman's Proving Grounds. And he is following up on that. That was prior month, but he is following up with that by competing in more events than they have in the past. This month came third in the GB with a very strong 109 and is also in the semis of the weekly, having KO'd Akiyama, which is obviously a huge win. And they joined Twin Moons, so really big month for Nemesis Davina. Obviously, joining Twin Moons did not move their spot on the rankings, but it is fun when a player is playing well and they are snapped up by clans because, their performance is impressive. In 7th, we have Piggyman. He's the first we're going to see of a collection of 4 players that have put up a record for this half, +3 in Clan League. He's also one of the finalists in Tazooka's hand tourney and will likely finish second there, though that is incomplete, and I'm giving minimal credit for that this month. And overall, I think both of these look like really impressive results that could compare with some of the top people on the list. But if you look at the Clan League games which he won, kind of who the opponents were, into what the importance of those matchups were and whether Avalanche would have won them anyway or not, I think his results here ended up being fairly low impact, but obviously +3 in Clan League is an incredible result. In 6th, we have Akiyama. He was relatively quiet this month, but that means he still got to a weekly finals in one of the 2 weeklies and went an undefeated +2 in Clan League. And if we start adjusting for opposition, Akiyama starts looking really good here. A win against Aesala in a hand game, open hand game, is very difficult, especially when you have to win in a single game. In Clan League, played really strong opposition like myself. So I think once you adjust this for competition, it looks even better than this. In 5th, we have Addy. Addy has been Boss's Clan League MVP. He's gone +3, but more than just +3, he kept getting the crucial wins to close out a matchup, and gave the decisive victories to Boss against both FFF and T3 in matchups that without his result, they would have tied or lost. So it's the only event he played. He played really well. I think he's only has like 5 matchups in this half, and he won 3 of them, and maybe even hasn't played one yet. But I think he played all 5 and won 3. And you could have him lower because some of the other +3ers we've mentioned, or I think we've only mentioned one other +3er. But other +3ers have had other accomplishments along with their +3, but his was in more important spots, and I like to give credit for the actual impact of it. In 4th, we have Yevin, who's been FFF's star player, also putting up +3. Most of his games didn't end up mattering for impact because FFF has not been a threat to win the tournament this time around, but that doesn't mean he didn't do fantastically. He still has a game left for Sedo, so he could move technically to +4, though also, of course, that's a very easy match to lose and drop to +2. But so far, he's been really incredible, and I don't want to punish someone, particularly for being in a clan that hasn't been competitive this time around. He also grabbed 4th in this month's GB. With a 102 score, he may be passed as more results come in. It is unclear. And is also in the weekly semis. He beat someone tough in the first round. I think he beat Smokes in the first round. So really nice win in the first round. And those two results, I think, even though, 102 in a GB is a nice result, but not really a standout result. And a semis in a weekly is, again, a nice result, but not really a standout result. But when you include, he's still in the semis, he could easily go further. He's playing Nemesis Davina in the semis, and he beat Smokes in the first round, as well as the 4th in the GB. I think you put it together, and he's clearly the best of the +3s we've seen so far. This brings us to the top 3, and in 3rd, I'm going to go Vialva. I have a note here on the bottom saying, I think the top 3 are really close, and you could go different ways. Do you want the person with a very good Clan League performance and a weekly win? So really good in Clan League, really good outside of Clan League. Do you want someone who has deep runs in everything, including a close to record-setting GB, so fantastic outside of Clan League, but poor in Clan League? Or do you want someone with the best Clan League showing of the players here and good outside results, right? So if we were going to rank them by outside their Clan League results, it would probably go that 2nd player, then Vialva, then the 3rd listed player. But if we were going to go by Clan League, it's the 3rd listed player, then Vialva, then the 2nd listed player. So, I could have gone whichever way here, and this is the way I did it. So, yell at me. The crowning achievement for Vialva this month was his win of the weekly. He beat Akiyama in exceptional fashion in the finals. Really cool trap he set. He did the thing that I think is a bad habit that I sometimes do too. I do it more in chess, but this kind of, you saw something really cool and tricky in advance. So when the opponent falls into it, you make the move instantly. Now, you saw it in advance. So when I do this, and maybe Vialva has different psychology here than I do, but when I do this, it's very much to make sure they know that I saw this the whole way, because that feels really cool, right? Because the instant move is just like, I saw it, I knew it the whole way, I had this under control. Now, should I move instantly in those spots? Of course not, because usually these are complex positions, and I should take a sec to make sure. But it feels really good to do that move instantly, and he found a really incredible trap against Akiyama that he played instantly, proving he had seen it the whole way. And actually, the whole match is really impressive. Something I thought was, this is going back a bit, but Sedo versus Akiyama in Triad Wars 14 semifinals. Watching it, I came in thinking Sedo was favorite, and watching it, it just became clear over the games that Akiyama was never behind, that he was kind of controlling every game, that anytime it looked like Sedo had initiative, Akiyama found a very clean way to defuse it. And when Akiyama had initiative, Sedo was finding ways to survive, but it was much more hanging on and having to find creative stuff further into the game. And this match looked kind of similar to that, in that Vialva kept finding ways to attack, and Akiyama kept having to put together something to just barely survive. And eventually Vialva broke through, much like Akiyama broke through against Sedo. But those are some of the most impressive matches to watch, when someone takes on a player who you know is incredible and just game after game can find ways to pressure them. And I think some people take Triple Triad to be a game of if you play awesome, you're gonna win. And it just isn't, right? If your opponent plays great, if they find good stuff, there is no individual game you're gonna win, with some exceptions. Occasionally great play will fall into something truly spectacular and you'll spot it. But for the most part, it is a game of finding different ways, at the top level, finding different ways to pressure people until, that chance they don't find the defensive idea comes good. Or until, you found a different way to attack them and they're less comfortable with this type of way. And so seeing someone apply pressure game after game, to me, is significantly more impressive than seeing someone win in a single game. right? I really do think seeing someone successfully pressuring an opponent 3 or 4 games in a row, a really strong opponent especially, is just such a impressive thing to see. And so I thought that was a super cool matchup. I hope to cover it sometime. And Vialva also followed up. He was one of the 2 best performers in the first half of Clan League. I ended up calling Smokes the MVP of Clan League because he played 4 games and won all 4. Vialva also put up an incredible record. I think he also went +4, though, over more games, and arguably against tougher competition. So you could definitely have argued Vialva for MVP of Clan League. It was incredibly close either way in the first half, and here he put up a +2, which is also excellent. Overall, he and Smokes, I think, are both +6 through the entirety of Clan League, which is just insane. So really good in Clan League, really fantastic win in a weekly open, and you could certainly have him first here or second. And I feel like I'm talking myself into second as I go through. Let's go to who I put second. I may end up flipping them. And second, we have Turds. So Turds had a poor CL so far. Some of the games aren't yet played. He has 2 games left that he might play. But he's on -1 right now, so even if he wins both of them, this will not be, a standout Clan League performance. It will not move him up on that front. But the reason I got him up to second was 119 is one of the best GB scores. For a while, I think 118 was the record. Then it was broken with 119. And then that stood for a while until Akiyama put up 123. And I believe Deli in the same event put up 121. But if we ignore the insanity of Delial and Akiyama and Deli's incredible runs, 119 would be tied record, I think. I think it's tied for 3rd all time. He's also in the finals of the active weekly. Vialva won a weekly. Turds is in a finals. It's a good chance to win it. That will put him close to Akiyama on that front. And is in the semis of the backhander with a solid chance to win that too. I put him ahead. I feel like I've talked myself into Vialva second and Turds third. So I think for the on the leaderboard, I'll actually input that now. Just so I don't forget. I'm going to have Vialva second and Turds third. But I think it's close. I just think, especially because I didn't give any credit for Clan League last month, I should be giving a lot of credit for Clan League this month. And Vialva's better Clan League showing, I think, should put him ahead. So for July 2022, I'm going to make sure it says Vialva second and Turds third. Sorry, Turds. Congrats to Vialva. This is also, is this the highest Vialva has placed? It's an interesting question. It looks like it is. It looks like it is. By a decent margin, actually. I think his highest previous placing is 5th. So huge congrats to Vialva grabbing second here. Sorry, I don't have an image now with the 2 next to his name, but let's move on to our winner. Yeah, it's boring. We all hate it. No one's a fan. Deli, boring. He's our 4th and final +3er in Clan League, and his wins are more important. Now, his huge win against Sedo to get AVL, a huge win over Brotherhood of Seed, and probably the most important matchup at the tournament, at least of the second half, was mouse slip aided. Sedo played in 4 on the 6th move, and he meant to play in 5, which was the only tie. But I think Deli played an awesome game anyway. He found a way to pressure in a position where cards were in 2, 3, 7, 8, and 9, and Sedo's only tie was in 5. And that's really tricky, and he did it out of a somewhat innocuous looking position where there were a few ways for him to put, and not quite innocuous, he clearly had pressure, but there were a few ways for him to find pressure, and the obvious ones were tricky, but much easier to survive, and he did a really nice job of finding the hardest way. And he also just got pressure out of a position that looked like Sedo had neutralized his starter pretty well. So yes, Sedo lost because of a mouse slip, but I also think Deli played a great game that could have easily beaten a top-tier player without a mouse slip, and ended up being the key game. Deli's also won 3 out of the 4 games he's played in Clan League, I believe. He also grabbed second in the GB with 112, which, second in a GB with 112, great result, right? But, It's a 5.6, which somehow is basically what Delhi averages in GBs. So this is, somehow his average result is second with a 112, which is insane. And he's also probably going to win Tazooka's hand tourney, which, again, not going to give a ton of credit because very little of it happened this month, but he will probably win that and, put something else on the resume. And the more I give him credit for that this month, if he does go on to win it next month, I can downplay it and not give him much for it because I can say I already credited him this month. So really, this is just a setup so that I can be mean to Delhi next month. But yeah, Delhi back on top. This is the first time since March that Delhi has been number 1 in the rankings. It's in fact the first time since March that he has been top 2, and he only has 1/3 since then. This has been a weaker run for Delhi than prior, though obviously if you aggregate the months, he's on average had the highest spot of anyone. But we were all enjoying a time where Delhi wasn't number 1 every other month, and now he may be back to it. So this is a deeply tragic event for all of us, and the only thing that can save us is please ban Delhi all.